I think we're going to talk about a tweet from a man named James Lindsay that Brad had brought to our attention a couple of days ago, which I find interesting. Brad, if you have it pulled up, please share. But if not, I'll just read it.
No, I can pull it up. I don't have it pulled up right this second. So, okay. But you can bring us in. It's right.
So James Lindsay is Conceptual James on Twitter. I don't know like what he does or who he is, but his profile says pro-America, anti-communist, based AF.
Wait, you don't know who James Lindsay is?
No. But he has 500,000 followers, so I guess I'm in the minority here in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says, few things make me sadder
Being
than
pale.
A few things make me sadder than American conservatives who have given up on the Constitution, even without a little bit of fight for it. It's just depressing. So James Lindsay, for those that don't know, Charles, he is I think he's a former mathematician, and he gave up his job and career path to study wokeness. And he goes deep. He reads studies and all sorts of stuff. He's written books. He's famously, what's it called? Race Marxism, I think is his latest book, arguing that all of this woke nonsense, including the transgenderism stuff, is just Marxism packaged in a different package. I'm very eloquent.
Didn't he and some other people submit some fake studies through peer review to get them published in scientific journals? Yeah, that was him. Like the dog park study.
Yeah, it's something along the lines of like male-dominated society allows dogs to, like it transfers into dogs, and dogs are misogynistic too, and all sorts of stuff. It all passes and gets through the peer review process. But yeah, he makes some strong arguments, I think that James does a really great job of explaining what's going on, but his solutions are usually non-existent or stupid. So, he goes into this. I just think this is interesting. I don't think he considers himself a conservative, which is fine. I don't care. Charles is also not conservative, pretty communist. But you don't think that's true?
What, that I'm not conservative?
Well, that you're a communist.
Yeah, I'm not a communist, but we can have that debate. Yes, Michael?
He just hangs out with communists. As do I. Can I ask a question first?
Please.
Sure.
Well, two questions. What prompted this? That's my first question. And then second, define conservative. What does that mean?
What prompted this? He's talked about this a lot. Not a lot. He brings it up every once in a while that the Constitution is, what's going to save America. We have to get back to constitutionalism, all this other stuff. And, I get it. It's not unique to him. A lot of people have said that. And what was your other question?
What is the definition of conservative?
Oh, that's a great question. What is the definition? I think it means that you bend over backwards for the Democrats and let them do whatever they want. Right. And just write strongly worded tweets and letters and just, who cares? And then pretend 10 years down the line, the thing that you fought against 10 years ago is now the norm and you're okay with it. Right.
That's what it seems like.
That's what it seems like, doesn't it? But I just don't. I think this is, I don't know. I think what's the point of the Constitution? What has it done? The government can tax us as much as it wants and give it to anybody that it wants for any amount. They can tell us what cars we can and cannot drive in the future. They can do whatever the fuck they want, basically. They can start wars. They can kill people. They can do all sorts of stuff. And the Constitution has done jack shit to stop it. I think it's a great set of ideals, some guidelines, but it's open to interpretation as we see all the time.
Right. But I think a big part of this is, one, people are not educated on the Constitution or really on American history as much as they used to be. And so you have these people who are not educated on this stuff and how to apply it. Then they move up the ranks and become judges and elected officials and all this stuff, and then take that kind of half-baked mentality about what they have or about how they see the Constitution and other things and apply that, and it's misapplied. I don't think that we have people who truly understand it and embrace. There are some, but for the most part, people don't truly understand that. And I think when you look down the ballot, you've got like city council members who think, well, the Constitution is not really an issue I need to be concerned about. Like, that's the federal government. And they don't. And so what they do, they completely see it separate and apart from the bigger picture. And so I don't disagree. I think we need some more civil disobedience. I mean, I think so. Naturally, I'm glad we brought this up because I've been reading this over and over again. Henry David Thoreau's Civil Disobedience. It's like a couple pages. It's an essay, but it's essentially the idea that we elect people, and too often we sit back and think because the majority elected them, they're doing the right thing, and that's it. It is what it is. But that's not the case. Obviously, we sit here and we let people do the worst things and get reelected. We let them steal, rob, cheat, overtax, sell off our assets, do all this stuff. And then we're just like, oh, we hate it. Let's go tweet about it and then do nothing. And we need to do more. We need to be a little disruptive civilly.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson said famously, we need a revolution every generation. And that's the problem. As each generation has passed, we've eroded and done more things that violate the Constitution to the point where we're at now that it's, as Brad said, meaningless. Not the Republican Party, not the conservatives, minus a few within the Republican Party at a national level have any concern for the Constitution. They have concern for power and what they want to accomplish, and the Constitution is just thrown away, minus the Thomas Masseys, Ron Pauls of the world. The problem is that we've allowed this thing to grow to a point where the Constitution doesn't matter. And what we need is peacefully a revolution, and we probably needed that 250 years ago.
Two things. One, if Charles, to your point that these people are not educated, they move up in the ranks and they just kind of do it. They don't know what the Constitution is supposed to, allow them to do or not do or whatever. If the Constitution doesn't stop people like that, then I think it's kind of like, then it's just guidelines, right? It's kind of like, hey, this is what you should do, but yeah, you don't have to because they can do whatever they want.
Yes, but our system is not the misgovernment of the American people is the misgovernment by the American people. That's what Lincoln Steffens wrote. And it's on us. I mean, we are supposed to be the ones holding them accountable. People are fallible. These systems are always going to be messed up. And then it's up to the rest of us to be like, no, you're stepping out of line. Like, you're out of office. You're going to jail, whatever.
How do we hold them accountable?
One, voting for people. Like, I mean, how many times do we vote for people who go there and do exactly like opposite of what they say they're going to do, and then we reelect them because they come back and apologize? Supporting other people. I mean, there's just other ways, and then obviously showing up, whether it's city council, commissioner's court, federal government, their homes at times. I mean, not like inside their homes, obviously, but I think we need to do more. I think the problem is, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, is that we are so far removed from the days of Adams and Franklin and Hamilton and Hancock and Jefferson and all these guys that in the Constitution that we look at it, and I say we just globally, but we look at it as if it's not real, like that these people didn't really exist and do the things they did. Like the Constitution wasn't like really written as a governing document. It's more just something we talk about, kind of out there in the ether. And we need to recognize these people were real and they did do this stuff. And there's nothing stopping us from doing this stuff today to kind of rein government back in the box that it needs to be in, except the fact that we're all preoccupied with Instagram.
You're such an optimist.
Am I?
Yeah. I mean, the idea that we're going to change things through electing people is, I would say, the chances.
No. He also said that we have to show up at their houses, Michael.
We have to show up at their houses. The whole system has been built over time corrupted and built over time to support empire and power. And that's really where we're at. There's my Marxist take. The whole thing needs to be torn down.
What does that?
Unfortunately.
And how do we do it? As you said earlier, it needs to be peaceful. How do you do that peacefully?
I don't
know that you can. I'm not advocating violent revolution, but if you want to go back to the Constitution or make the Constitution meaningful, we're not going to do it through the electoral system, which has been corrupted to serve big power and big money and big interests through the donor class. We're not going to do it that way. How is that possible? The agencies have been completely corrupted. The media is completely corrupted. The political parties are completely corrupted. Like what? Okay.
I feel like people are always going to be politically corrupted one way or the other. And that's why we have to have systems in play, like the right systems, not the wrong ones.
But the system can also be corrupted. I don't understand. I mean, if everyone can just interpret it how they see fit and do whatever the hell they want, and they're all, in it for power, they're just going to corrupt the system.
It can be corrupted, but I feel like that's how you if we're going to do anything, I feel like that's how you get to a closer point of where you want to be, is by creating a system in which the incentive structure is different or in which the punishment structure is different, so that people are less likely to then abandon those principles and more likely to adhere to them. And then when they don't, you hold them accountable. But you're right. I mean, I don't know how to fix it other than other than civil disobedience.
Well, I think there needs to be personal recourse, personal accountability, as you said, but personal in the sense that if someone does something like, I don't know, shuts down the fucking country and like forces people to take vaccines that are, dangerous and experimental, then they need to be held accountable in their own personal interest, not in their official capacity. Right? If you go on the campaign trail and you just lie through your teeth, do whatever the fuck you want, say whatever you want, and then get in office and do the exact opposite, like there should be personal accountability there.
I agree. And I think yes, but we're never going to get to a place there because, look at cops and qualified immunity. You can't hold them personally accountable for things that they do while on the job because they often hide behind that. And so we're never going to get elected officials who are going to be like, yes, hold us personally liable. We're going to pass that law. Had that been done when the Constitution was written, I think, sure, we'd be in a better place. But I see it very hard getting that passed. If somebody proposed that in the Texas House in January, I don't know that it would pass the House or the Senate.
Right. Of course, the people in power are never going to just say, yeah, hold me personally accountable. Absolutely. I'm just it's only going to get worse, is I think the moral of the story. And, this revolution, this peaceful revolution that Michael's talking about, I hope it is peaceful. I hope it's I hope the national divorce that is inevitable is a peaceful, amicable divorce.
I think that civil disobedience, as Charles put it, we've got the two of the, more modern advocates for civil disobedience up there on the wall, is the only way that works.
Talking about his wall, Charles.
Oh, Martin Luther King.
And Martin Luther King is the only way that works. But is it possible? I very much doubt it. And is it the likely outcome? No. And how many examples do we have to go through of people at the top who have done things criminal and not been held accountable to be like, that's never going to happen? Yeah, you bring up Fauci and the lockdowns, but prior to that, the head of the NSA gets in front of Congress and lies that we're not spying on Americans. And what happened to him?
Yeah, right. Nothing.
Nothing.
The system is totally fucked, and the Constitution's not going to save you.
Wait, but Michael, how can you say it's not going to work when only 70 years ago it worked for Martin Luther King and a whole race of people? But so, you don't think think those same tactics would work today?
No, I think I think the tactics would work. I think organizing it around a set of principles it wouldn't work. That would benefit the country is impossible at this point.
It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
What is one of the groups that's kind of organizing around a set of principles is Convention of States, right? Let's do a Convention of States, rewrite the Constitution. That seems like a plausible, but that means the people in power are giving up power. So I don't see it as happening.
Anybody that tries to do civil disobedience and an MLK type movement or whatever to change things, the media and the power structure that currently exists would turn against it so quickly, and it would fail miserably. They'd be painted as whatever, white supremacist, or if it's a black person, it'd be internalized white supremacy or whatever. They want to bring you back to they want to take it to the Handmaid's Tale, whatever stupid fucking lame cultural reference they're going to use. It's not going to work. Yeah.
I guess my point, and I didn't articulate it super well, was what are the set of principles or things that we are advocating for collectively that we can reach agreement across the aisle? What are those things? We're living in completely different worlds. There's the conservatives or the Republican Party, people who advocate for the party who think they're going to actually change things for the better. And then there's people on the left who are thinking the Democrats are the savior. And then there's all these people in the middle who think it's all bullshit. What are the things that those three groups of people have in common that they could unite behind in a way, the civil rights movement did with MLK? Lack of trust, other than some sort of anti-corruption something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
distrust of government, anti-corruption. But I mean, those are so vague, such vague, like you know what I'm saying? Like I can't think of one right or one policy that everyone would unify behind, or not even everyone, a majority of people would unify behind in the way that a majority of people unified behind like the civil rights movement. Or I don't even know if a majority did. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
We're fractured, and the division is intentionally propagated. It's like intentional to keep us apart so that this doesn't happen.